RW is probably one of the most popular floats in the range, and I believe it to be the best float on the market for fishing in less than 2 foot of water. So be that across in the mud line, as the name Muddy suggests, but also when you're fishing down the edge, it just mates for the perfect float for when you're bagging up in the summer, catching lots of fish in shallow water. It's nothing better than getting this float out the bag when you can see the fish tailing up near your hook bait and you're waiting for the float to rock it under and that fish to swim out the peg. Now, the profile of this float, it's got a 2mm hollow bristle. Now again, when you're fishing in shallow water, you often get a lot of line bites as the fish are coming in the peg, swirling the bait about. And if you have too thin a bristle, it'll just drag under and you'll just be missing bites and foul looking fish all day. So that 2mm bristle is perfect. It also makes it nice and visible. If you're fishing up to a bank or up to reeds, which makes it a little bit difficult to see your float, having a nice visible bristle is perfect for that. Now, it's got a rounder body. Again, this is about stability for when the fish are in your peg and the swirling the bait around. You tend to often get it where you get 2 or 3 carp in your peg and there's a lot of sort of movement in the water. And if you have a slim float, it'll just rock out of position. It doesn't sit well. So that's why we've got this round body on this float. It's also got a glass stem, and quite a thick glass stem. That just makes this float now an indestructible. A lot of the time you'll be fishing, like I say, a foot deep maybe, really shallow, and the float will be in your landing net when you're netting the fish, and they're often big fish and they're crashing about. And if you were to use like a wire stem or a carbon stem on this float, it'd break very easily. So this glass stem is perfect for that. It also, having a glass stem, just helps it to sit nice and quick. So when you're dropping it in and there's loads of fish there, it just sits nice and positively. Now, the uses and the baits for this, I've already touched on the uses. It's just for fishing in less than 2 foot of water. So edge fishing, catching lots of big carp, but also fishing to islands or across in mudlines on snake lakes. Perfect for that. Baits wise, normally maggots, big worms, corn, meat, positive baits when you're fishing for decent fish in the summer months. Size wise, this only comes in a 0.4 size, which we've tested to be the best size. We tried other sizes of this float in the past and it just doesn't work as well as this one, and it just takes the confusion away from the angler. This is the one to use. No need to mess about with any other float. Probably one of the most popular floats on the market, this, the RW Muddy. Shotting pattern for the Muddy float needs to be dead simple. As I've touched on, you're fishing in less than 2 foot of water and you're going to have a lot of fish in your peg, wafting your bait everywhere and causing you a lot of liners. So no good having a delicate shotting pattern and spreading your shot out. You need everything down at the bottom end. So if I move down to the shotting pattern now, I've got a bulk of stots here, and that's 6 number 8 stots. And what that allows it to do is just pin your hook bait right in position, and that's exactly why we've chosen the 0.4 float. Be no good having, say, like a 0.2 or a 0.1, which doesn't take enough shot, as every time a fish comes in your peg, eating your bait, your hook bait will be getting pushed out of position all the time. It's also no good having a float that's too heavy as well. If I say I had 10 number 8s on, it'd just be far too positive. So we've just found that this 6 number 8s is the optimum amount of weight to have down the line near the hook length to keep everything in position nice. Another key aspect of this rig is the short hook length. I've got a 3-inch hook length, which when I'm fishing less than 2 foot of water is the one I go for all the time. And having that bulk just sort of 3.5 inches away from the hook like this just stops any foul lookers, any line bites and any problems with your hook bait wafting up off the bottom. So perfect, nice simple shotting pattern for a nice simple float for catching loads and loads of fish in the summer, the RW Muddy float.